Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. I have another exciting guest today. I'm telling you, when a princess has these kind of friends, she cannot go wrong. And I think I have found a new BFF. She is absolutely incredible. She's very much an entrepreneur. She's had 28 years in the direct selling market. She's beautiful. She's brilliant. She is so many things.
Keep going, keep going. I'll pay you later.
You will figure out how amazing she is as soon as she starts talking. Welcome, Kelly Cornelsen.
Thank you so much. This is such a treat to get to be on here with you. I've been watching you live, and you are just a rock star. And I feel really privileged that you've invited me to come and just spend a few minutes with you and be on your page.
Thank you. It's truly my honor. I saw you do. I've watched you on several videos. Of course, I'm a princess who's a creeper because I will creep on your page and see what's going on. I can't help it.
So you're a creepy princess. That's another thing. No. You're not a creepy princess.
I've never found a better word than that, but I definitely have followed you and been watching some of the fun stuff you do, and I think that's one of the most attractive parts to you and I, like to each other, is we both are fun.
We are fun, and we both dress alike. We like the color blue. We did not even plan this. So
we did not. Well, you had posted one day that you were a hot mess, and I thought, okay, she is definitely my girl. We are definitely going to have to get connected because I am a hot mess, like through and through.
I get it. I am too. More times than not. People would be very surprised. They go, you look so put together. I go, it's all an illusion.
I love it. I love it. Well, today we want to talk about accountability and those who don't need it, and how this subject actually came up. You were actually doing a live video, and you were talking about accountability and how you were going to be accountable in that live video to do something. And I said, you're motivating me. I need to do something. I didn't even tell you what it was, but I told you I needed to do something. And you came back, instead of saying, oh, thank you or anything like that, you came back immediately and said, let me know when you get it done. And I was like,
don't you hate that?
I got called out on Facebook Live.
It raised your accountability.
It definitely did. And I just want to say, I did get it done. It took me about 7 days, but I did complete my task. I had been
I'm so proud of you.
So it's so funny. But, I want to talk today about accountability. And, the title is Those Who Don't Need It. And I want to clarify that really quick, because if you are, if you are not looking to be wealthy, if you're not looking to be, generous, if you're not looking to be, trying to think of all the things, if you're wanting poor relationships and you're wanting, basically a bad life, then this show's not for you. Like, if you want that, you don't want to listen to anything we have to say, because this is only for those who want a great life. We call it a sexy life. We want sexy businesses for sexy lives, and that really requires accountability. It requires us being willing to be accountable to someone we need to be accountable to. So can you talk a little bit about that, like accountability? Because I've heard you on several occasions talk about accountability, and you just have a beautiful way of saying it.
Well, I think that when we look at and I probably should mention, yes, there's a little white thing popping around. I don't know if her head is popping up and down, but this is Ivy, and Oliver is asleep, and I'm trying to keep her. She's a puppy. And so if she jumps out and spasses out, I apologize already. But
I love it.
She's not accountable to anyone at this point in her life, but she's learning. She's a puppy, and she needs to be groomed. I realize that she has an appointment on Wednesday. But well, thank you so much. And I think what you said is right. And I think the people probably that are tuning in and watching us, that they are very much where you are and where I am. I think it's a destination we never fully arrive at, and that our whole life, when you have an entrepreneurial spirit, when there's part of you that wants to make the world a better place, you want to, I love Oprah, you want to live your best life, you know, that you're always striving toward those things. And what that looks different, what that looked like yesterday, but it also can be very months or even a year. I mean, we didn't even video 2 years ago. And when I started my business 28 years ago, I don't know how I did it. We didn't have cell phones, GPS, any of that stuff. I remember when we got carbonless forms. I was speaking at something and I go, y'all, we got carbonless forms. Now I realize that's hilarious. But back at the time, we were progressive, and that was a big deal. And do you know what? As the years have gone on, I feel like kind of now I'm in that very same spot as a brand new entrepreneur, because so much has changed, but so much has changed inside of me, and that I've recognized that to have a bigger life and to have a bigger business, whatever your business is and whatever your motivation is that you have to have intention. It's not going to just happen. If you're just living your life day to day and you wake up and go, I wonder what I'm going to do today. You know what? The day can come and go, and you realize that you haven't moved one step past where you were. And the next thing you know, it's a month, and it's a year, and then it's a decade. And you and I both know how that can happen so quickly. So we're always pushing ourselves a little bit. And I think we have to kind of reverse engineer a little bit. We have to decide, what's my why? Why do I do what I do? It's not just about the what. You know, the what could be anything. What's my why? What's your why? Why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? And then what are you willing to do? And do you, ultimately, you need to be accountable to yourself. I'm very intrinsically motivated, meaning that you can offer me a trip, a car, anything, and I'll go. We were talking about Survivor, and we were talking about The Amazing Race. If any of you watch all of that, I know there's no redeeming value to that, but my husband and I love to watch Survivor and Amazing Race. And they will come up with these crazy competitions, and I will look at him and they go, okay, you're going to climb up on this top tower, and you're going to drop down. And I go, are we going to do that? Are we? And they go, and I go, what's the prize? And he says, well, $100,000. I go, that's not enough. I'm out. Because here's the deal. That's not my motivation. Now, if the money alone is your motivation, then that will motivate you for a time.
Yes.
But what motivates you when you reach the goal and your bank account is what you want it to be, and you don't need the money? Does that motivate you anymore? So see, it has to be something more. And so that would be extrinsic motivation. I hope I'm saying it correctly, but a prize or, a goal. I could go on this trip. Now, I do enjoy all of those things, and those do get to be kind of consequences of doing all the right things. But ultimately, the motivation and the accountability is to myself. Because, it's funny. I've had people that I've worked with over the years that have wanted me to coach them on business, and they'll say, well, I need you to hold me accountable. And I go, okay, well, I can. Will you tell me what it is what do you want to do? All right. So to get here, what do you need? What steps do you need to take to accomplish that? Mm-hmm. They will tell me. I don't tell them what they need to do. They tell me what they need to do. Then they want me to come back and follow up with them and hold them accountable. And I'm happy to do that. And my experience has been many times, though, is that I would say, so Kim, let's touch base on that. How'd that go? And you'll be like, not you. I should use another example because you would totally do it. Someone else, literally, I've had them get mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, whoa, time out. You asked me
Yes.
to hold you accountable. You told me to follow up with you. And then they get angry at me. Well, they're not really mad at me. They're mad because they didn't do it, but they didn't want to be anyone to remind them about that. So that can be a very, prickly path when you're asking someone else, because if you want to be held accountable, and if you have someone, and if that is something you're interested in, I would find someone in your life, or maybe someone that you can reach out and build a relationship with, either through business, or maybe you have like a really great person, someone in your personal circle that you just really watch them and you're like, they always seem to be on task, they always get things done. Ask them if you can buy them a cup of coffee and just go sit down and have a conversation. But I have a feeling that what you're going to find out is they're going to talk about their why.
Yes.
Because I feel that that's what successful people have in common, is that they have a big why and they get over their big butt. I love that.
I love that.
I couldn't help it. That's so funny. We did a whole talk on that one time about how to get over your big butt. And we just thought that we laughed at ourselves because we do that. And no one else you need to laugh at yourself. And if no one else laughs at you, it's okay. You can just laugh at yourself.
Laugh at yourself. That's right.
Does any of that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I love that you put it in such plain terms, because that is one of the things that, people get caught up in words and lose what it looks like. And I'm really big on, I want to know what that looks like. Your accountability and my accountability might be different. So if I'm asking you for something, what does that look like to you? And you explained it perfectly. And I've heard you explain that, different parts of that before. That's why I knew you were the perfect one to do this interview. Because it's so funny, because you're right. You held me accountable and you didn't even know you were. You just commented to me, let me know when you get that done. And I was hesitant to do it. And the end result of it was I had to send something out in the mail. And so I was making excuses the day that it needed to go out, because I was like, it's raining and then I seriously thought, oh my goodness, but what if Kelly asked me if I did it? And if Kelly asked me if I did it and I didn't do it, then I'm going to have to tell her I didn't do it.
Wow.
So I actually
didn't know. That is so exciting. We never know what influence we have over people.
That's exactly right.
Well, I've been really blessed to have a mentor in my life for a long time. And, some of the things like that just come to me naturally, because she would totally do that to me. If I tell her I'm going to do something, she will say, well, hey, let me know how that goes. And you're like, oh, I should have told her. And sometimes speaking it out loud, if you say it out loud, and the other day, I don't know, even remember now what I was talking about, but I was on FaceTime Live and Facebook Live, and I think it was actually in my business with my team. And I just said, okay, y'all, so that I'll be accountable, I'm going to say this out loud. And I'm going to tell you, because if I don't tell anybody, then I could let myself off the hook. And I'm going to tell you something really awesome somebody shared with me a long time ago. Actually, my daughter learned it, and she came back from a leadership meeting, and I was like, tell me everything that you learned. She was literally like in 6th or 7th grade. And we had been really encouraged by her youth pastor to actually, he had a speaker come in, and his name was Jay Strack. I don't even know if it still happens. It's called Student Leadership University. And he was like, there are 3 things you can really do that make such a huge difference in your life. And it's the places you go, the people that you meet, and the books that you read. And he said, never stand in the way of your kids getting to travel. And so if they get an opportunity, let them go. So we started just letting her go to these great opportunities. Then I would stay at home so I could work and pay for it. And she would come home and I would debrief her. I was like, tell me everything. Well, she went to Student Leadership University 3 different years in a row. And she came home and I said, okay, what did you learn? And I'm going to tell you, it's been life changing for me. And I've shared this over and over and over with teams of people everywhere I speak. And that is swallow the big frog first. Do you know? Are you familiar with that?
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
Awesome.
But in case anyone's listening that doesn't know, please share.
It is awesome. And it is, literally, what's your big frog? And you know what? It could be just putting something in the mail. Mm-hmm. That's your big frog. What is your one thing that you really need to get done today? Is it the hardest thing? It may not be the hardest thing. It could be the most inconvenient. It could be the thing you don't want to, you just don't, you know what? It could just be the thing you don't want to do. And it's on your plate. And sometimes we'll just do everything else but that one thing. Mm-hmm. That's your big frog.
Yes.
So swallow the big frog first means do that one thing first. And if you don't get anything else accomplished, you've done that big thing. And I think that's a huge accountability step for yourself, because I can say, well, you know what? I didn't get the house cleaned today, or the dishes done, or I didn't get to the gym, but I did get that one thing that I really needed to get off my plate. I did that one thing. And absolutely. I did it.
Oh my goodness.
Can you hear Ivy? She is growling. I'm sorry. She's a pill. She's talking. I need to call it talking, not growling.
She's so cute. And you are giving me my puppy fix. Like, at least I can live vicariously through you until I get my puppy.
You gotta get a puppy, and get it when you're in Texas so I can come visit.
I love it.
Actually, your puppy can come socialize with Oliver and Ivy.
That's what I was going to say. We'll have to have play dates.
We will. When we lived in Little Rock, it was not unusual for friends to get new puppies and ask them could they bring them over to play with Oliver and Lucy. Lucy's already crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but we had her for 16 years, and they would bring their little dogs over to socialize. And so puppy playtime is a thing. It's a real thing.
Well, I know that what you did for me just on that post, I'm also motivated. Like, I am very self-directed and self-motivated, but I also learned a long time ago that when I do have someone to answer to, and I like how you described it, because it's not that you have some, like, you don't go to someone and give them all the company and tell them, okay, you now have control. It's just someone who cares enough that you get it done because of your why. Like, I think you have to be able to tell that person your why. And then,
well, and you know what I found? I don't mean to interrupt. Sometimes I found that many times we can't articulate our why because we don't know our why. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the very first step, is to kind of have a little, consult with yourself and really look at, why do I do the things that I do? And when you get that nailed down, then everything else can fall into place. It's kind of like you have two separate lists. Here are the things. So when you get asked, for instance, to do many, many things, and we live busy lives, and it's very easy to become so overcommitted that you can't do the one thing that's the most important thing to you. But if you have that locked in place, then you're going to filter everything else through that lens. And so I don't feel like anymore, because I'm a natural leader. I mean, I know, and you need to know your strengths. That's a really big thing too. That helps you to know what your strengths are. And I know my strengths, and I also know many of my weaknesses. And I've just learned when, I look at doing something, I have to think, okay, I don't even have to process this now, because I just know. I go, oh, you don't want me to do. No, I would not be good at that. I mean, you don't want me to do the accounting for your business. You don't want me to read the legal paperwork. It's too many words. I'm a sanguine through and through, but with leadership skills. But, when I look at doing things and what's going to take my time, because time is limited and life is short, that it is a filter. So you will find that you're much more satisfied with your life and with your business when you're able to filter so that things are landing in the right place. Does that? Yes. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Oh,
but if you spend all of your time exhausting yourself, you fall into bed at night and you've not done one thing that mattered to you,
Mhm.
or and I'm not talking about personal things that matter to you, but like that support your why. You spent all day long doing all the things you thought you should do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be the homeroom mom. You don't have to be the head mom. You can support the head mom,
Mhm.
but you don't in charge of that. But unless you really want to, and if you do, you should do that.
Yes.
But if you're like, I feel like I have to, no, you don't have to. It's
Yeah.
okay. You can take another role in that, because you know what? Somebody out there in this world, her calling is being a homeroom mom. And if
Yeah.
you step in her way, you're going to be in her way, and you're going to take that away from her. So that's not your call. If that's not your calling, then you let her do that, and then you fill in how you can do best. And then you're both operating in your strengths. You're more satisfied. She's more happy, satisfied. Everybody's happy, and there's cupcakes at the party. If I was in charge of them, there's a good chance I might forget. And so,
I love it.
but
I
it's
love
so
it.
simple, but yet it applies to the big, big stuff.
Yeah.
The really big stuff. We're getting ready to do a big thing in our lives. We built this house a year and a half ago, and moved into it a year and a half ago. Built it a couple of years ago, thinking we just moved to Texas, that this would be where we would be and build community. And my husband was working in Fort Worth, which is about 30 minutes from here. And about 6 months in, they changed his whole territory to the other side of the Metroplex. It takes them about an hour and a half each direction to go, and it makes you weary. And I was ready to put a sign in the yard that day. Let's just go. It's just a house. Let's just go. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. You're making so many friends. And I was, but so now that I've made a lot of really good friends, and I love where I live, I'm bonded, we decided, you know what? He is just exhausted all the time. And what are we accomplishing if we're just on the road all of the time, just getting to and fro? And if we lived closer to where his territory was, would it make an impact on our family and on our life? I know that's a very practical thing, but it's not. Some of you, that's, you're like, no biggie. That's a big decision, and it makes me really sad. And we're new to Texas, and a lot of people in our neighborhood are from transplants from all over, and I've met the most lovely people. And social media, because I can keep in touch with them now, because I didn't have them either. But you know what? It's okay, because we need to move geographically so that we have more time to work on the things we're working on together and work on our business together. And that's just one little part of that. But see, there's the filter that we had to filter all of that through, because otherwise you could just either go, yeah, or no, I'm not going. I like where I live. Well,
Yes.
let's look at what's our why. What do we want to accomplish, and which puts us in a better position to be able to do that. And you know, adulting is hard, and I don't like it at all, but it's still hard.
You know what? Going from what you said, though, I actually learned that quite a while ago too, and I actually have a list that I have on my phone most of the time, which gives me the things that I do and I should be doing, because that's part of my why. And if you ask me to do something, I actually, because I'm subject to make one of those yeses too quick.
Well, and I can be
Subject,
that way too. I'm too quick to say yes. It's like sometimes you need to say, let me get back with you.
yes. Well, and I had to practice that. I had to practice just saying, let me check and see, because really I needed to check that list. I would pull that out and I would say, okay, is this in line? Is this going to make what I'm called to do? Is this going to move me closer to what I'm called to do, or is this going to move me away from? Because the truth is, it usually does one or the other. When we're saying yes to something, we're saying no to something else.
Bingo. That is exactly it. So every time you're saying yes to the wrong thing, you're saying no to all the right things.
Yeah.
That is so true. That is so good, Kim. I'm so glad you said that. That is so true.
Well, but being accountable, I think that accountability is actually kind of a magical formula, if we can use that word.
Sure.
Because if I have enough respect for someone to have an accountability partner, and I ask you to help me be accountable, it's just like that thing I needed to finish and then mail. I knew I needed to do it. I knew it was part of I needed to do it, but it wasn't part of my want to.
Gotcha.
My want to was, kind of dragging. And the thing is it was part of something I should be doing. So when I said that out loud, I actually didn't realize it at the time, but I was making myself accountable.
Well, you set your intention. You just acknowledged it and you were like, okay, I need to do this.
Yes. And after getting it done, though, I felt like I should go to, the store and get a sparkly ring out of the gumball machine because I needed a prize. I was so excited I got it done.
You know what? Then you get that ring, girlfriend, and there are lots of people out that are watching this that you need a prize. And you decide, decide what that prize is. If I do X, Y, Z, then I get to go to dinner at this place on Friday night. It can be little things along the way. It doesn't have to be a 10-day cruise. It can be, if I get this done, then I get to go to the spa. Give yourself a little, whatever it takes.
Absolutely. I'm okay with quarter glitter rings. And it's not that I keep them. It's so funny because I am just motivated by
you're motivated by glitter because you're a princess.
That's exactly. Anything that sparkles will make me move.
And I love that. And that's why they make them.
Exactly. One of my clients, in a different business, but one of my clients a few years ago learned the magic formula to get me motivated, really. And it wasn't that I needed to be motivated. I was already doing a great job.
Okay, you are so self-motivated.
But we had just done a, $42 million deal. It was a big deal. And
that's a big deal.
He sent me probably a $10 sparkly bracelet that was like what probably a little kid would wear. But I wore that thing and I hung it up on my computer and I had it in my office for like months and months. And it represented, and I think this is the key for me, it represented an accomplishment or a victory, because there were lots of parts in that, putting that stuff together that was mundane. Right. And not so sexy, that sometimes the working parts behind are they're boring. They're not what we want to do. We want to do the exciting stuff.
All right, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, were you motivated actually by the bracelet? Or were you motivated, or was it you did it anyway. It was the acknowledgement. Was the bracelet or that you were acknowledged for what you did?
I don't know, because I think it was a physical.
You didn't expect a bracelet, right?
No, I didn't.
So it was like, surprise.
Yeah. But it was a physical proof of serving. That was the thing that I loved, that I was able to serve this whole group of people, that their lives were now better because of what we had done.
Oh, and that's so good.
That just represented, and it reminded me, because when I would look at it, and like I said, it was just it probably really was a little kid's thing. It wasn't something that, I would wear to maybe to speak or to do some things. But
right. Or maybe you would.
Or maybe I would. Yes, you're right.
And somebody says, what is that bracelet? You go, let me tell you about this bracelet.
Exactly. And, I think that that's a really important part of accountability, though, is I think whenever you have an accountability partner, you should be able to celebrate. And it doesn't have to be with prizes. But I think there needs to be a place where when you do accomplish something, because, I know both of us have huge accountability, but we also have huge goals. We have things that are, not, and I don't mean anything like sliding any of this, but, maybe some some husbands' goal is to just get the trash out on time.
Right.
And that's okay, but that's not what my goal looks like. Like intrinsically, we know those things, but as you continue to level up, and I think everybody levels up.
I think so too, is because that's where we've really been, is really, talking about leveling up. Definitely. And to do that, you have to do things you might not normally do. And I think what you're saying is so important. And it's been so encouraging to me, and it's really given me more accountability, is meeting women like you who are doing what I, want to be doing. And that we kind of hold each other accountable in that I think I feel challenged a little bit. The other day when Tiffany was interviewing James Widmore, and Tiffany Bymaster, who's got Lights Camera Branding, which is a coaching course that we are both part of. And if you ever have an opportunity to do that, I would encourage you. It's closed at this time, but get on the waiting list, and you want to be part of that, because you meet awesome heart-centered entrepreneurs from around the nation, actually around the world. Yes. And it's so encouraging to go, I'm not the only one. I thought I was like a unicorn in Argyle, Texas, and there were no other ones like me. And then I meet awesome glittery girls like you who have a big heart and want to build their own brand and their own business. And then we kind of challenge each other. So when she had this interview with him the other day, she said he was talking about when someone challenges him to do something, and that if it scares him, that's it, that it scares him. And then he goes, oh, now I have to do it.
Yes.
Because if it scares you, that's kind of a sign that you definitely to do that.
Oh,
so I took that as that really challenge. And I've never met him. No. I just know him through Facebook Live and through, the online training he's done with us through Tiffany, because we've got access to that. But it so lit me up and challenged me and held me more accountable to, instead of having an opportunity and going, oh, that I don't know, and using that as an excuse not to do it. Now, if it scares me, then I'm going to do it, because
then it's required.
And I'll tell you what, this made me a little bit nervous. I use Facebook Live a lot. This is my very first time to use Be Live, and I was so excited that you asked me, but I was a little nervous. And when I got off that call that night, you had already asked me, and I told my husband, I said, I have to do it for sure. And he goes, why? I go, because it scares me a little bit. And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, if it scares you, then you have to do it.
Yes.
And by you following up with me, you know what? I have a list of people that I've been wanting to do this with, and I have not contacted them. And now I'm like, well, now I have to. Because look what Kim is doing, and she's doing what I've been thinking I'm going to do. And so I've got to do that. And so I think when you have that accountability through just mentorship with people that are kind of on the same path with you, you may not do the same thing, you may not do everything the same way, but you both have those same goals, and that we're able to have a conversation to say, so tell me about that. So how are you doing? And then you can go, how can I apply that to where I am? And so, anyway, that's all I have to say about that. If it scares you, sometimes I think if it scares us, then we just don't do it. And we talk, we say, do it afraid. And do it afraid. But no, seriously, if it scares you, then you just need to take it as a sign. Well, well, now I have to do it.
Yes. And don't wait. Because I think that's another thing, is if you do it quickly, whatever it is that you're scared of, if you do it quickly, and we're not talking about doing silly stuff like, jumping off a cliff, or, we want to make it very clear. But if it is something that scares you and you wait, the fear will build.
Procrastination just makes it worse.
Yes. And so I think it's exciting. We're running out of time, and I hate that. I hate when we run out of time for
It goes so fast.
stuff. But, if someone needs accountability or if someone wants to get in contact with you, can you tell them how to get a hold of you?
Oh,
And
sure.
we'll post in the comment.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments. Yeah, I can do that. It's my jam. So you can find me on Instagram at Kelly Cornelsen. And then my business page is Kelly Cornelsen, This Premier Life. And you can find me there, and you can find me all kinds of, not very many people who have my name. So I'm pretty easy to find, but I'll post it in the comments so they can find me.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing the puppies with us. Oliver and Ivy are superstars, like their mama.
She's talking again. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is great, and you are just so awesome, and you are such an encouragement to me just to reach out to people. And, I think we have so much to learn from each other. And I'm super excited that I'm going to actually get to meet you IRL in real life. See, I can fool.
That's exciting.
We know that we're going to be in the same area in the future, and so we've already made a coffee date, and so I think that's a great thing to do when you've got the opportunity to meet up with people. You know what? If they're interested in things like you, they're going to love talking to you too. It doesn't matter that you haven't actually met them. And now through social media, I meet people and I go, now, have we actually met in real life? Because I feel like I already know you. and they're like, no, we're just friends on Facebook. But yes. I think it's really cool how that can kind of transfer.
It does.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure you have been places where they come up to you and say, they talk to you like you should know them. And I go into panic mode kind of thinking, where do I know them from? Like, where did I meet them? And then they finally tell me, oh, I've been on Facebook with you for like 2 years.
I have to tell you a really fun story, super quick. Last Christmas, my husband and I had gone to this little town near us, and there was this awesome little shop, and we were wandering in there, and we went in, and this lady came flying out of their office, and she goes, I know you. And I went, oh, hi, you do? And she goes, y'all. And she called her friends out there. This is Kelly and Jeff. Kelly is on Facebook Live, and oh my gosh, she is so funny. And they have these little dogs, and this is her husband, and she's a blogger, which I'm not kind of ish, but not really. And she goes, she's a blogger, and she's so fun. And y'all got to, she knew all about me. I had no idea who she was. But Jeff goes, was that fun? I go, it totally made my day. And then I was at Magnolia in Waco a few weeks ago, and this lady passed by me, and I went, I know you. And she looked at me, and I go, okay, let me think what your name is, because it was her. I said, you're on Instagram. You just built a house. And I said, I'm Kelly Cornelsen. We're friends on Instagram. And she was like, oh my gosh, we are. And so we took our picture, and it was so fun. I only knew her through Instagram and then ran into her in real life. So y'all, you know what? You can actually make virtual friendships. And with social media, if you don't have someone right there, if you're in a little town and you think, there's no one near me that I want to use as a mentor, there's no limit, y'all. You can get involved and find great podcasts and great people to engage with all over the nation. And I promise you, they would love to be a mentor and encourage you too.
You are so right, though. We let things like distance limit us, and we don't have to anymore. We
Not
have
anymore. There are no limits.
To have mentors all over. Tiffany, I have met Tiffany in real life, but
I'm so jealous. And then she shows like some of the girls, like Sherry gets to see her to live in California, and they'll go to lunch, and I'm like, I want to go to lunch with y'all.
Yes,
but I went too far away.
She is someone who, like, we both recommend, obviously, too, if you need accountability or if you need help with your brand or your live videos or anything like that, be sure and go to Tiffany Bymaster or Coach Glitter. I love the Coach Glitter.
She's so cute. And I tell her, I feel like she's my best friend in my head. I've never met her in person, but I feel like she's my best friend. And my Facebook profile last year was a boomerang of me doing this, and it is so funny because now when I'll pop on when she's live, she'll go like this, and I don't know if that's for me, but in my heart she's waving at me.
That's right. I love it.
But yeah, y'all need to check it out. Coach Glitter. It's lights, camera, branding, and it's a great investment.
Yes. And, and again, I want to tell all the followers to please go follow Kelly Cornelsen and her page, which will be in the comments. But thank you so much for doing this, Kelly. And I cannot wait to have coffee. I think we could be actually very dangerous together because we're both so motivated. The world better look out for what comes out of that coffee.
Here we come.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This has been a privilege.
You're so welcome. So, guys, I thank you for being on with this. I thank you for watching it. Be sure and put #replay if you're on the replay watching this. But I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team, and we are absolutely here to help you create sexy businesses so you can have sexy lives and know awesome people like Kelly Cornelsen. So, love you guys.
Bye, guys.